Guys, it's me, it's Queen Onset Haru, and thank you for joining me for another wonderful edition of Ask an Aquarius. If you haven't already, please hit the red subscribe button and smack the bell. Alright guys, so first and foremost, if you like this video, please give it a thumbs up and pass it on to someone else who may enjoy it. Likewise, you guys know I'm going to BronyCon next week. I'm not going to be here, not going to be recording from the 31st of July until the 5th of August. I'll be back on August 6th. And this week on Sunday at 2 p.m. Eastern, I'm going to be doing our 6th live discussion on the book Being Me, Loving You by Marshall Rosenberg. I read pages 23 to 30 for this particular week. Okay? So meet me if you can at 2 p.m. Eastern. If you want to leave me a donation, if you want to give me a love donation, this is a wonderful time for it because I'm going to BronyCon and I still got things that I have to pay for in the next couple of days. So if you want to leave a donation, that would be wonderful. Likewise, if you want to get a reading, this is also a good time for readings because until midnight, readings are $5 off. Full readings are $5 off. Full readings are usually $68 and they last an hour. But until midnight, they're $63 and they last an hour. Okay? Also, if you want to get your natal chart done, please email me for an appointment and I'll tell you what I need to do your chart. All right, guys. So let's talk about today's topic because I like this one a lot. Not too long ago, I did a video about it's important to have more to offer a potential mate than just sex. And I will link that video right here. So anybody who missed it can check it out. So after I did that video, one of the subscribers who watched it recently told me that they had a question. They said that they wanted to know what's my take on hypersexuality and the lesbian, gay, bisexual, transgender, and questioning community and dating. So the first thing I wanted to say was that people always say that I'm gonna just say for purposes of this reading, for purposes of this video, I'm just going to say the gay community, and that's going to encompass all of us, okay? All of us who are not heterosexual. So people always want to say that our community is hypersexual, and our community probably is sometimes, all the time, most of the time, hypersexual. But the straight community is hypersexual too. So it's interesting to me because Wilt Chamberlain came out with a book and talked about having sex with 50,000 women. And everybody was patting him on the back like, oh, he's the man, you know? And in later years, others have talked about groupies and having sex with all these people and, you know, rappers, singers, people like that. And this is all mostly in the heterosexual community or that we know of because we don't really know what their sexualities are for real. So when it's them, it's not the same. Likewise, heterosexual women are having sex as well. How do I know that? Because statistically speaking, more and more of them are reporting things like STDs and birth control and things along those lines. You can find all this information out just by Googling it. So why does the gay community get accused of being hypersexual when everybody's having sex? Why just us? Why? Why y'all picking on us, you know? And I'm going to tell you why. Because homophobic, transphobic, biphobic people always point at our community and say, look at what the queers are doing. They're having all this sex. They're taking all these drugs. You know, they pointed at us, all of the, you know, people, you know, that are, you know, phobic or, you know, prejudiced against this particular community. Not that it's everybody, because we have a lot of straight allies. But the ones that aren't allies or aren't accepting of other kinds of people, the ones who are phobic, are the ones who say shit like this. And we've all, including those of us in the community, have accepted it as being truth. But I'm here to tell you it's not true. We have a hypersexual community across the damn board. It's not just gay people and lesbians and bisexuals and transgenders that are having all this sex. We have a culture right now that is very open to sex. And even before our culture was open to sex, the sex was still going on. Look at the flappers from the 1920s and the wild parties they used to have at speakeasies and places like that. Look at the 1960s and the 1950s and the 1970s with all the orgies and drugs and things that were going on. People have been enjoying sex since the beginning of time. And it's just right now in this time period that people have become a little bit more open-minded about sex and sexuality. That's the only difference. It's been going on. It's just that people are more open-minded about it, and it's happening a lot more out in the open. When I was a young girl, you didn't have friends with benefits. I hate friends with benefits, by the way, just in case y'all didn't know. I hate it because every time somebody comes to me with a big problem, it usually started off with friends with benefits. Every big major relationship problem, a lot of times that's what the problem is. It started off wrong. So when I was a young girl, we didn't do that. It wasn't like something that you did. It was a movie that came out when I was 16, and that's when people started really doing it. I was like I don't know how, I was a teenager when that movie came out, or maybe in my early 20s. But when it came out, that's when it became really popular. But it was happening before that. But when I was young, it wasn't something you did. You had a boyfriend, you had a girlfriend, you had several boyfriends or several girlfriends, but you didn't have a friend with benefits. It just cheapened the whole thing. We would have to engage in relationships to get sex. Now, people just pull up somebody on Tinder, meet them at their lobby of their building, go upstairs and have sex, and then walk them out. Total strangers, don't even know their real name. And I'm not saying that is anything necessarily wrong with having a healthy sex life. What I'm saying is that a lot of these situations, these situationships end badly. So what do I think about hypersexuality? I think more people are doing it. I think it's more accepted than it's ever been. And I think it's a bad idea. I think that there's nothing wrong with being in tune with your sexuality. There's nothing wrong with having a healthy sex life. But I think we're doing it too fast. People meet and they're having sex immediately. And I just think it's too fast. I think you should give it 90 days, 180 days, 12 months. Give it some time. Get to know a person. That's my only take on it. I just think we move too fast. And I think that's across the board. Likewise, dating. Dating is dead. Nowadays, people don't even date anymore. I hear debates about it on Facebook all the time. Men are like, well, we're tired of paying for dates. And I'm like, but you don't have to pay for expensive dates. An expensive date can be something you do for special occasions. But I've been on dates where we packed a lunch and went on a picnic. I've been on dates where we went to the creek and sat by the water. I've been on dates where we went and got ice cream or coffee. Every date doesn't have to be this big expensive date. So my thing is that we need to bring back dating. When was the last time you got a woman some flowers and took them to her before you took her out for a meal somewhere? I think we need to bring back dating. I think dating is dead. I really do. I don't think we date anymore, and I think we should bring it back. We need to resuscitate dating, because I think that we need to spend more time building relationships with each other and not just giving each other free sex. When Friends with Benefits started, having relationships with each other started to decrease. And if we do have a relationship, it's all based on the sex. And that never works. Some of the situations go well eventually, and most of them are disasters. Almost every, like I told you guys before, almost every major disaster that I see in a relationship or a situationship started off friends with benefits. Because you started from a place that was flawed in the first place. And people argue with me about this all the time. And I tell them, I'm not arguing the point. You do what you got to do. It's your life. But this is something I've watched happen in my lifetime. I've watched it happen. And I've seen what it does to people. People just settle for sex. Okay, I'll just take that. And most people are thinking in their mind, maybe this sex will go somewhere. You know, some people are thinking maybe this will go somewhere. But that's not how you get something to go somewhere. You start off moving it towards somewhere. You start off with that conversation. You start off with a friendship, a platonic friendship, and you see where you want to go with it. But if you sleep with some chick in the back of your car that you met on Tinder 15 minutes ago and then wonder, why did this go wrong? That's why you didn't even know her. You didn't even know her to even know if she was a good idea. And I understand some people are like, well, we just want sex. No, you don't. No, you don't. Even if you just want sex, you want sex with a person who is not going to become problematic. And you don't know if they're going to become problematic. You don't even have an inclination if you have sex with him 15 minutes or 20 minutes after you met him the first time. A lot of these disasters would be bypassed if people kept the drawers on just a little bit longer. Just 90 days. Just a couple of months, you know. Get to know somebody for the 6 months. So that's what I think. I think we move too fast and we need to bring back dating. And a lot of people disagree with me, and I'm okay with that because they're not me. You know, they're not me. I don't have to live their life. They don't have to live mine. But just think about that. Think about it the next time you're in a situation where you meet somebody that you really like. Your hormones are going to be racing. You're going to want to touch them. You're going to want to taste them. You're going to want to be with them. But just try to remember the consequences of moving too fast. Okay, guys? All right, it's time for me to get going. So I'm going to see you guys tomorrow, all right? And remember to come back because I have a lot more to say. See you later.